So I've been reading the most boring book this year, which is Anne of Green Gables, and it got me into a reading slump. So I thought I'm gonna stop reading it and I'm gonna read thriller books for a week, and I'm gonna make a vlog about that and see how many books I can read in a week. So these are the books that I have currently in my physical library. I have many thrillers, but I think I'm gonna start with this one, which is Gone Girl. I know I'm late to the party here, but it's better late than never. So I'm gonna start this book, Gone Girl. It's one of the most famous thrillers. It's been around for about 10 years. I don't know anything about this book. I don't know anything about the plot. I'm diving in blind, so I hope I enjoy it. It smells really good, by the way. So I read 3 chapters so far. It's a really good start, really engaging. You can really feel that the language is really good and it's really well written, and I think I'm gonna enjoy this book so much. But first, I'm gonna get a cup of coffee. I'm back with my coffee, and I think I'm gonna finish 50 pages today. That's my goal for today's reading. And let's start. So I finished 60 pages instead of 50. It's quite an achievement for me to read 60 pages in one sitting, but this book is really good and I'm really enjoying it. But I think I'm gonna stop at page 60 and I'm gonna continue in the morning. So today I thought I don't want to read just one book for an entire week. I might get bored, so I thought I will alternate between 2 books that are still in the thriller genre. But in order to differentiate the first book from the second book, I chose a thriller that is not murder mystery, and I chose Inferno by Dan Brown. This is the 4th book in Robert Langdon series. I think I'm gonna really enjoy this book. This is a really fast-paced series. I don't think this will be any different. I think I'll read this one without the dust jacket because I saw some people online do that. They say it's a lot more comfortable to read it this way. And I really like the hardcover of this edition. It's really cool. So I'll start reading it. As usual with Dan Brown's books, they are very fast paced and engaging, and I read 24 pages in no time. It's action packed from the very first scene. As usual, Robert Langdon finds himself in the middle of action without his intention. In this book, he suddenly finds himself in Italy, in the hospital, with him not remembering anything at all from the past 2 days. And there's a killer after him, and he's trying to escape. And this is pretty much all that happened in the first 4 chapters. So it's day 3 and I signed up for a gym membership today. And while at the gym, I thought I'll start an audiobook. And again, I didn't want to choose a similar book to the books that I'm reading currently. So I checked what other thrillers there are, and there is a subgenre that is science fiction thriller. And I chose a book called Upgrade by Blake Crouch, one of my favorite authors of science fiction. I read about 2.5 chapters, about half an hour. It's a great start to the story, and I think it's gonna get even better in the next chapters. For now, I returned home and I read some pages of this book. I reached the page 180. I'm almost halfway through the book. I hope to read again another 50 pages by today. I'm starting to worry that I might not finish all the books by the end of the week. I think I shouldn't have picked these big books. I think I should have picked smaller books for this challenge. I hope I'm gonna finish at least 2 of the 3 books that I started. And for now, I'm gonna continue reading Gone Girl. It's so good so far. It's a little bit medium paced for a thriller because I think it's literary thriller. There's a lot of great commentary on human nature, psychology in this book. It's not just a thriller, it's reflective. It's got many layers and I'm really enjoying it. So this is day 4. Yesterday I reached page 255 on Gone Girl. There was a major plot twist in part 2 that was not expected, and the author really played with our minds and fooled us. I won't say more because I don't want to spoil it, but it's really intriguing and really exciting, and I want to finish it, but I have to make some progress with my other book, the Dan Brown book, because I only finished 50 pages of it and I need to make some progress. I think I'm gonna read another 50 pages for now. So after I read 50 pages of this book, I didn't feel like reading anything else, unfortunately. But somehow I finished Anne of Green Gables. Like I said, it was so boring and it's the reason I started this video, but I managed to finish it today and I really liked the last 40% of it, but the first 60% was boring. It's a classic. It has a lot of morals. It's good at some parts, but mostly it was not for me, and I think I'm not gonna read the next books in the series. So that's it for today. It's another day and I need to get back to Gone Girl. I need to finish at least 100 pages today to be able to finish this challenge. I'm getting the pressure now. I think I put myself under a lot of stress. I chose big books. It's a lesson to me to choose smaller books in the next challenges, or increase the number of days for the challenge. I guess I might cheat for this challenge. I might increase 1 or 2 days in order to finish these books. So I need to get going really fast. So I finished 100 pages of Gone Girl today. I consider this an achievement. I still have 100 pages left. I hope I'm gonna finish it tomorrow or after tomorrow. I also finished 1 hour of Upgrade. I still have 5 hours to finish the book. I also really hope to finish this book by the end of the 7 days. I highly doubt it, but let's hope for the best. So it's a new day, and today I finished Gone Girl. I finished the last 100 pages just a couple minutes ago, and wow, this book was so phenomenal. It deserves all the hype that it got throughout the previous 10 years. It was published, I think, in 2012, and it's considered one of the best psychological thrillers ever, and it definitely deserves that. So the book about a couple a man and his wife. On their 5th anniversary, the wife goes missing, and everybody suspects that she was murdered and her husband has killed her. And so throughout the book, the husband is trying to defend himself against this accusation. The whole book is so cleverly written, it's so well planned, it's so smart, and gets deep into the psychology of humans. It's such a roller coaster of emotions. You will root for one character, but then you will root for the other one, and later you find out that both characters are extremely flawed, and you will hate both of them by the end of the book. The third part and the ending was a complete shock to me also. The book is beautifully written, the language is so beautiful, it feels like you're reading a literary book. The use of the point of views was so effective, especially in the third part. The pacing was a little bit slow for a thriller. I got a little bit bored in the second part. I thought it dragged a little bit. It could have been shorter, but by the third part, you will be really engaged in the story. The third part was really intense. I really could not stop reading it, and I was on the edge of my seat reading the third part. It was both satisfying and very unsatisfying ending. I'm really conflicted, but because of the ending, I gave this book a 5 stars rating, and I really want to read her other books. And now I'm very happy because I finished the first book this week. It took me a long time, but I really want to catch up with my reading now. I still have a really big chunk of both of the books that I'm reading. Right now, I think I'm going to the gym. I'm gonna keep listening to Upgrade, and I hope I'll make some progress with it. First book of the week, done. So it's already the last day of this challenge, and I think I failed because I still have about 50% of this book. I'm no way near finishing it today, and of course it's all my fault. I chose big books for this challenge. I thought I could do more, but with work and family, there is a very limited time for reading in my life, and I tried to squeeze in as much as possible. And I think I made a lot of effort, and I succeeded in reading so much more than I usually do. I will consider this a victory, but I will continue reading these 2 books, the Dan Brown book and Upgrade, and see how many more days I need to finish them. Hopefully I can finish them by tomorrow or after tomorrow, and I will continue filming my journey with them. But now I'll just return to my current read and try to finish as much as possible today. So finally I finished the books that I'm reading, and I'm tired. So I finished reading the book called Upgrade by Blake Crouch, and all I can say is I'm disappointed in this book. It was so boring. I wanted to stop reading it so many times, but I kept reading it in the hope that it would get more interesting, but that didn't happen. So the story is set in a world where there has been a disaster induced by genetic manipulation, and our protagonist, who works at an organization that tries to stop these disasters from happening again, he finds himself in a trap that changes his genetic structure to make him a superhuman. He has super intelligence, super memory, and super strength. And after he gets his powers, I really hated him. He kept bragging his super intelligence and started throwing information left and right just to show us that he's better than anybody else. And suddenly we start to know so many genes names and numbers that we don't really need to know. It gets so boring at this point. I felt that the author was trying so hard to convince us that he made a really thorough research to do this novel, but I think this affected the story so much because the story lost its pace, and I was not convinced by the conflicts in this novel. I found them to be so underdeveloped, and the protagonist is without any emotions, and he intentionally moves his emotions away to not cloud his logical thinking, and this made him so robotic, so dry, and I could not connect with him at all. And I wanted to finish this book so I can finish this challenge. That's it. And I gave it 2 stars, and this is a first for Blake Crouch for me. I hope his next novel will be better. The next book I finished is Inferno by Dan Brown. And this is a classic Dan Brown book, a classic Robert Langdon. Robert Langdon is the protagonist in this series. This is the fourth book. I already read the first three books. They were really good, and the author uses the same formula in this book, and it kind of feels repetitive. It was fast-paced with short chapters and so many chases in so many historical places, but that was it. But the ending was not good. I didn't like the ending of this one. Also, the pace, I think it suffered in this book because there was so much information in this book. I thought it was a little bit excessive in some parts. Sometimes I thought that I was reading a history or a tourist book about Italy rather than a novel. Even though I like these things, but I found them to be excessive. Other than that, it's a classic Dan Brown book. I liked it, and I gave it 4 stars out of 5. That's it for this challenge. Thank you for watching this far. I hope the next challenge will be better. Please support the channel by subscribing and liking the video. Thank you very much for watching, and happy reading.